Hi there, this is David. I hope you have some time to sit back, relax, and listen to a story. Today, I just wanted to take some time and tell you all about my just mind-blowing, once-in-a-lifetime, history-making trip to LA for the Final Fantasy XVI pre-launch celebration. This thing was just off the chain. I've never had so much fun in my entire life. And I do want to give shout out and thank you so much to Blitz over on YouTube, as well as Jay Cardi over on Twitter, for putting this all together and allowing me to come. The whole invite and everything else was really last minute for me. They only told me about it maybe 3 days before it happened. And I know that Ken had a huge meeting on Monday morning, but the event was on Sunday from 3 till 9. And I was like, I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know how we're going to make it. Ken was looking up some flights and he's like, well, the last flight out of LA to Vegas would be at 10 p.m. on Sunday night. But the show would end at 9. And I was like, well, that's no good. We have to be there for the entire show. That's just no good. So, we ended up driving out to LA. It was about a 4-hour drive, and I really just threw a whole bunch of junk into my car. I didn't know what I needed. I brought a laptop and I brought a tripod and stuff, just in case. I had no clue what to expect at this event at all. All I knew is that I wanted to go, I wanted to come, I wanted to be a part of history. I got the first Final Fantasy game whenever I was in 3rd grade. I must have been 8 years old, in 1990, and I got it. And I've loved the Final Fantasy series ever since. And, if you get invited to a Final Fantasy event, who's gonna say no? Give me a break. Come on. So I had to be there. And it was just so cool. So we left early Saturday morning to LA, and it took about 4 or so hours to get there. We stopped, got some food along the way, all that kind of stuff, and we checked in to the Westin Hotel because I wanted to make sure that I was in the heart of the action. I asked everybody else where they were staying, and they all said they're staying at the Westin, and I was like, oh, that one's pretty expensive, but hey, I gotta be in the heart of the action. I gotta be, where the big boys are. So I booked my hotel there. I stayed there. And we get there, and I had a dinner that I was planning to go to at 8 o'clock. There was a dinner planned with a whole bunch of different content creators and voice actors and people like that for Final Fantasy XVI. That was going to be at 8 o'clock till about midnight. So I got to the hotel around 2, and then I decided to head on out to the Santa Monica Pier. So we went there, we checked it out, we did some touristy stuff, we got some Mexican food, it was really good, and then we went back to the hotel, changed, got ready, and head on out to Angel City Brewery. This is where the dinner was, and I say dinner because it wasn't really much of a dinner, honestly. It was really a bar, and it was a brewery, and they only really served beer, so that was different because I don't really drink beer, of all things. But I got some sort of strawberry drink, some sort of strawberry beer drink. It was a frosted drink, so it wasn't bad. And then there was food trucks around and stuff, and I got this great Mexican nachos. Those were delicious. But more than that, it was an old abandoned firehouse there. And we went up to the 2nd story, and everybody was up there. I got to meet Schrodinger's baby Seal. I got to meet Legion's Gaming. Ben Starr, he's the voice actor for Clive. I got to meet Benedicta's voice actress, Jill's voice actress. I got to meet Jay Cardi. He works for Square Enix. I got to meet just so many people. I got to meet Blizz in person. I got to meet Susie Spearhunter, who lives in Las Vegas, and she lives 2 miles down the road from me. Who knew? How cool is that? I have a content creator friend here in Las Vegas who lives right next door to me. Oh my gosh, mind frickin' blown. I got to meet Prince Noctis. I got to meet Unaleska, who is the sweetest girl on the face of the earth. I love her. just so many people I got to meet. There was like 50 something content creators there, and we're all mixing and mingling and hobnobbing and drinking and talking and laughing and just sharing our love for JRPGs, for video games, for Final Fantasy, for this whole hobby. We're just all sharing our love and having a fantastic time. So we ended up staying till roughly 11:30 or so, and then Ken was getting tired. We had a long drive. We had left early in the morning to get to LA. It's a 4-hour drive, so we were both tired. So we went back to the hotel, went to bed, woke up, and everybody else was like, hey, we're meeting for coffee downstairs. Come downstairs. There's Unalesca, there's Blitz, there's Legion's Gaming, there's Caleb, who's a really great speed runner. Just so many just amazing people are down there just eating breakfast, having coffee, chatting, talking about, like, I wonder what the day's going to be like. Nobody really knew what to expect at the event. We were all just kind of like walking in blind, So we were just talking, chatting, and we decided that we were going to walk over to the event at 1:30. And we went down at around 11 or so. We were only staying at the hotel for one day, though. And you couldn't keep your car there, like, past your check-in time, I guess. So Ken, unfortunately, had to take the car and drive it from the hotel to the event parking. Whereas I stayed and I walked with the rest of the content creators. And we'll get into why that was such a big issue pretty soon, actually. But I also brought my bag with me. I told y'all that I'd bring that bag. And at first I was like, I only want people on Final Fantasy 16 to like sign it. But then I was like, you know what? Everybody is so cool and they're so amazing and they're such friendly, wonderful people. I wanted to go ahead and bring my bag and just have everybody there sign it. So I did, and I have my bag right here. I want to show it to y'all up close and personal so you can all see all of the various signatures on it. There's so many signatures on it. You can see Unalesca's signature right there, Legion's signature right there. There's so many. I don't know how I can get this really into focus into the camera so you can really see just how many signatures there are. I got signatures from voice actors, from voice actresses, from people who work on Final Fantasy 16, just great content creators, to just friends, to fans. Like, everybody was signing on my bag. I loved it. People, and then I had like complete strangers coming up to me and was, where'd you get that bag? That bag is amazing. Everybody loved the bag, and I had to tell them the story of how I got the bag. And I think I've told it on the channel before when I first got it, but I was at my retro game store, which is called Retro City Games, here in Las Vegas, and they used to have a different location. And there was like this dark, dank corner of this location, and it was like behind an old arcade machine. Between this wall and the arcade machine, I saw this bag kind of like poking out, covered in dust and disgust and filth. And along with this bag, there was that Kirby shirt that y'all have seen me wear, that Kirby tank top, that I wear sometimes. That was there too. And I brought the Kirby shirt up and I brought the bag up. And the guys were like, you want that? Okay. And they were like, you can have them for like $1 a piece. So I got this fantastic freaking bag and that awesome Kirby shirt for $2. $2 Like, how amazing is that? So 1:30 rolls around and we all get up. We're all ready to go. Ken had already left around 1 o'clock. He had to go fill up the car with some gas and go and drive over to the parking lot. So we're all walking. They all said it was a 7-minute walk. Spoiler alert, not a 7-minute walk. More like a 27-minute walk. So we're walking from the hotel up to the location, and nobody really knows where the entrance is, because there's like an entrance for, I guess, the general public, and then there was a VIP entrance that we had to go to. So we found the regular entrance because there was signage for that. And then we were like, hey, we need to find the VIP entrance. Do you know where it is? And they didn't know. So we're all just kind of like walking around blind. We don't know. Ken's calling me on the phone. He's like, hey, where's this entrance? I don't know. Sorry, can't help you. You know, we're trying to figure it all out. We finally get there. I'm calling up Ken, and he's like, I think it was on like Bonaventure and 4th, and he was like, I'm on Bonaventure and 6th. They told me the wrong spot. So he's trying to find it. I'm trying to find him. I'm trying to listen to the security to figure out what's going on, because we get there and the security is like, if you're not press, you're not allowed in. And we're like, well, we don't work for like a publication, but we're content creators and we're invited. And there was like 50 of us, but these still wouldn't let us in. We had to like back and forth to these different people until they finally let us in, and they gave us these amazing VIP wristbands. You can still see the 2 little bar tabs on there. We each got 2 free drinks at the bar, as well as a free food and a free sweet. Ken and I both ended up getting hamburgers and fries, and we both ended up getting some churros. So we also got some drinks as well, but Ken used the 2 drinks on his band, and I kept both bands in pristine condition because they are an heirloom to me, and I kept the little bar tabs there as well. So we both get in, and then they gave us these pins. It is a Torgal pin. How cute! It is pixelated Torgal. Pixelated frickin' Torgal. I just can't stand it. And you know what's better than 1 Torgal? 2 Torgals, because I have Ken's and I stole it. Yay! I also got these. These are the, I guess the lanyards. It's the Final Fantasy 16 lanyards there. It has the logo on it, and then it has the characters right there. It's hard for me to do this on camera right there, but you can kind of see Sid there, Jill, Joshua, Clive, Torgal is down there as well. And again, I have Ken's as well, so I have 2 of them. Yeah, you gotta have 2. So we get there, and we were actually allowed in. It was supposed to start at 3, and then we got like this urgent message beforehand, and they were like, change of plans, you know, we need you there at 2. So because at 2:30 we're gonna give you like a preview thing. So we're like, yeah. So we go into this preview area, and they open up the whole thing, and they basically say, you know, all photographs, all videos, whatever, you can take them, but you can't post them until 3. They're embargoed until 3. So we're like, okay, that's fine. So we go in and we look around. We're oohing, we're awing, audible gasps. It was so freaking cool, like being like 20 people in there. They invited about 200 or so influencers, I guess, but I was in like a special group that got to do this like, you know, cool little preview thing, which was just so amazing. I loved it. And then as we're going on through, Yoshi P walks in. Yeah, that Yoshi P comes walking on in, and then the security is like, okay, it's time to go, guys. You guys need to head on out. The developers are coming in. And we start to walk out, and then Unileska is like, Yoshi P, can I take a picture? So she runs over and she jumps like in front of him, and she snaps a picture with Yoshi P. And I'm like, if she can do it, so can I. So right after she's done, I'm like, Yoshi P! So I run over, and you can see right there, I have a picture of me and Yoshi P right there on the wall. I posted it on YouTube, and then I framed it, because I'm that basic biatch. I framed my Yoshi P picture, as well as my picture with me and Ifrit right on the other side, and then down below is me and a whole bunch of content creators at the restaurant event that we did the night before. So that was just freaking amazing. The whole event, it was kind of an indoor-outdoor thing. They had us on one side, they had the general population coming in on another side, and then they kind of had to walk through this area of picnic tables and food trucks and drinks and things like that until they were able to head on over to the area that we were at. As you walked in, There was the Ifrit statue on the right-hand side. In the center, there was kind of a camera control area. To the left and the right, on the left-hand side, there was a cordoned-off area for game consoles and terminals in order to play Final Fantasy XVI. And then on the right-hand side, there was another cordoned-off area for people to stream Final Fantasy XVI if they wanted to. Then in the center was the actual showcase. And it was pretty much standing room only. There were no seating available. There was very, very, very few seats available. So before any kind of event happened, I thought, this is kind of like the showcase area, and then they're going to say, okay, everybody, let's go inside this auditorium over here where we can sit down and listen to the presentation. That's what I thought. That's what I assumed, but never assume anything, because the presentation actually happened there. And you really had to stand for it. You really did. There was maybe 20 seats available for 1,200 people. So that was kind of unfortunate. And Ken, bless his little heart, he really can't stand for all that long. So he stood for the first part, and then he sends me a text message, and he's like, I'm hungry. I'm going to go get a churro. So I'm like, okay. So afterwards they had like this little intermission after the first presentation, the intermission, and I went outside with the food truck area, and they said it was going to be like a half an hour intermission. So I'm like, oh, this is great. I'll have enough time to, to grab some food and eat the food and then go back inside. By the time that I, waited in line, ordered the food, got the food, and then went to sit down, the half an hour was up. But thankfully, they had huge, massive, big screens of the second event. So Ken and I sat outside at this nice breeze. It's June in LA, but it was like 65 degrees. It was overcast. It was really beautiful weather, I must say. And we just sat there and we watched the entire presentation. They did a combat presentation. And Maximilian dude was like trying to take down this icon or something. He was like level 30 and the icon was like level 45. And he was like trying to fight it and all that, and he was so close to beating, and you hear the crowd like hold their breath, like, oh, and then he died last minute, and everybody's like, oh, it like the crowd was just wild. But then the developer took over and he kicked his freaking ass, and even Ken was into it, and Ken doesn't play video games, and Ken was so totally into it. He was like watching, he was like, he's gonna get him. It was like he was watching like a football game or something. It was so cool. I was like holding back tears as I eventually spent the whole time pretty much outside, because at least outside you could sit. You had these picnic tables and you could sit down, and they had the showcase, and I could mix and mingle with the crowd. Indoors, you couldn't really mix and mingle. You were kind of like standing like sardines, It wasn't all that comfortable, but outside you could mix, you could hang around, you could talk, you could chat. I had a bunch of fans come over to me and introduce themselves, and we took photographs together, and it was just such an amazing time. It was really just the time of my life. It was history in the making to me. I know that some people might think that that's hyperbole, but I really don't think so. I mean, this is Final Fantasy. This isn't like some little one-off game that nobody's ever heard of and nobody will ever hear of it again. This isn't some like little indie project or anything else like that. This is Final frickin' Fantasy. And it's not like a spin-off Final Fantasy. This is a main-line Final Fantasy. This is history. This is video game history, and I was a part of it. And I just wanted to share exactly what it was like with all of you. And I hope that you enjoyed this story. It was just amazing. I have never had an opportunity like this in my life. I don't know if I ever will again, and I am so moved and so blessed to have had it. And I just want to thank everybody that was involved, and that includes y'all in the audience for being involved with me on the channel and just being here for me all the time. Thank you all so much, and as always, have a good day.